blog, and now they're together. I mean, things like this, di ba? Yes, without knowing. Without knowing, all I wanted to do was to write. And I think also it's a way of expressing yourselves, no? And showing people who you really are. I get a lot of comments, why do you put so much information there online? Aren't you afraid, security reasons? But I think you have to be yourself and you have to use it to express yourself. But you also have to be careful in the information that you put out there because that leaves a mark, right? People will just search, research on you, and if you ever put something there that you wouldn't want to be brought up, it's kind of dangerous. So one has to be careful. There are pluses and minuses. You agree?
For someone who's really busy, like all of us, we wear a lot of hats. So for me, to be able to monitor my family, uh, aside from my children, my parents, to be able to monitor your friends, because you have to have friends pa rin, diba? And work. So there's like so many things that you have to do. I didn't really get into technology because I really wanted to, but it's just a need, diba? Because of it, I was able to, when I got into Facebook, people will think Facebook um, is not helpful, diba? Some people think it's really a waste of time. But it's a way of um, connecting with my children, um, without really trying to check on them. They pop out there, and you know what they're doing, diba? Um, and then even the people you work with. I look at my children. Because some people say, my friends don't want to friend me in Facebook, ganyan. No, but for me, because it's so natural, we're able to see each other there. There's Snapchat pa now, and there's Instagram. So it's a way of connecting. Uh, it's so easy. It becomes so easy for you. And then even if you're busy at work, you're able to talk to your friends. Diba? And the groups that you have in Bible. Even if you're busy, you're able to connect. And then at work, through Facebook, you're able to see the trend. Like for me, I have to be attuned with parents. So I see what's interesting for them there. So you know what to offer in the summer, what to offer during the school year. And then when I want to connect with people, I see it there. Then um, it's an inspiration. I can do this. I can work with this group. And then you can learn from other people that you read, diba? But there, later on, I end up working with them. And then I'm able to do what I want to do. I mean, educate the children. And then at work, I'm able to monitor work. Sometimes you have CCTV, and then you have... Hindi naman. I mean,
There's a lot of monitoring,
no, no, no.
Romila.
Diba?
Girl boss.
And then, it's so easy to communicate. So it makes everything easy. Everything falls into place, even without moving. Diba? You don't have to be in the office every day. Ha? Hindi naman.
Actually, even looking for a school for your kids, you don't have to anymore go to every school. So all you have to do is research it over the net, and then look at the reviews. Yeah, Google it, and then look at the reviews, and then after it, call up the school and ask, and then it makes it easier. Okay, of course, you save time because of the traffic, and then of course gas, diba? So it's easier also if you're a stay-at-home mom and you can't leave your kids. The internet and everything that it can do in one's life is really amazing.
Now that you mentioned that, how much do you believe reviews? Because that's not the only thing that you look for. Like when you buy a product, when you go to a restaurant, you watch a movie, you look at reviews.
Well,
But how much does it?
Of course, reviews are subjective, diba? So what I do is I look at it, I read it, and then after that, if I'm still curious, I'll still go there no matter what, and I'll eat there if I want to eat there. If I want to go to an auction that I feel like doesn't really have good reviews, but then I feel like, well, they have interesting paintings and stuff there, I'll still go there. So for me, it's just like an insight of what to expect, and then you know what, if it's good, then well and good.
Well, I think it's the same with everything on the internet. Like information is there, but it's up to you how to digest it, process it, and make your own evaluation after.
Even schools are like
Yeah.
that. They give you readings, but it's still up to you at the end of the day. Do I believe this? Do I take this position? So, they cannot do a choice for you. They cannot make that choice or decision for you. It's still you at the end of the day.
Yeah, and I think that's what the offline world has to offer. There were, you mentioned learning starts at home with the family and in the schools as well. Critical thinking skills, I think, is underrated and not as prevalent as we'd like it to be. But it's the vital thing that lets us digest information. I mean, we have access to so much information, and it's what separates what is true for us and what may not be true. How you take everything with a grain of salt.
But don't you think that's something also that the internet takes away from people, critical thinking? So instead of them going there or having to see the place or see the person, or they take it as is. So for me, what happens also with the internet, and I hope that people learn this, see for yourself. Don't take it as is. That's where your critical thinking comes in. Don't shortchange yourself. And that's what I think, and please don't take offense, what lacks now, critical thinking.
I believe. That's why in Galileo, as early as 3 years old. Oo. And basic talaga is math. I mean, math will really help in the basics. So
Yeah.
in the end, they have to be
So
critical
true. I mean, like
thinkers.
internet technology, they're there to assist us. It shouldn't be overtaking us in such a way that we stop thinking for ourselves. It should be there to aid us in our decision making, to get information, to get ideas. But at the end of the day, your thinking and who you are as a person should have to come out also in there.
And I think it's always been there, like industrial age. Parang the harms of it also. It has enabled us to cross borders, but at the same time, may mga ill effects din to. So I think we should take technology that way as well. I think this is also the value of, even for children, di ba, na not too much videos at a certain age. I really appreciate those studies kasi what do we know? We don't see the effects now. It's gonna come like years from now. So, regulation pa rin at the end. And I agree with you. Offline. You have to have an online life and an offline life. Social media, meaning to say, I Viber you, but I gotta meet you face to face as well.
So true. It was so funny the other day. I was attending this event, and they were talking about millennials, because you are all of that younger generation. Sige na. So millennials, of which my children are, no. So it's very difficult in terms of bridging the generation gap. But then I was flabbergasted is the correct word. Christmas time, when my company gave me an award, which is being the most plugged in. So in other words, I am not a millennial, but I'm a phillennial. Feeling millennial. Because I'm always online. My kids say that if they want to know where mom is, all they have to do is to go online and find out where she is. And that's where I am. But I think in terms of technology, Gail, I don't get upset. Is there such a term as Googleennial? You know why?
Term, maybe we should
You know why? Because I was just thinking coming here that the moment I wake up, the first thing I do is turn on my phone and check what's happening with the world. No? Is there something important I need to find out? The office, the house, the kids, everything. No? When I get to the office, I turn on my Chrome. I check on my calendar to see what are my schedules for today. And then if I have to go someplace, I do the Waze. So everything is there. You can't seem to live without it because the technology is different. And I try to hark back to when I was young, nung wala pang mga ganyan. I mean, like in school, when we would take a test, bawal pa nga yung calculator. Much less computer, and now they're all digital natives.
they're all using
And the
smartphones.
question is, how do you bridge that gap? For the young people, they're not afraid. It's second nature to them. Anything that's new, that's technology, they can absorb. For people my age, there's a bit of trepidation, di ba? Fear. How does this work? Mapapahiya ba ako? I remember about 20 years ago when they first introduced this software. We had to teach CEOs how to use it. We couldn't do it in a public seminar because they were embarrassed to study it together with people who were younger than them. So we had to do one-on-one tutorials in a hotel so that no one will see that they were learning how to use the computer, how to use the internet, and all of that. Now it's also second nature.
Yeah, because your smartphones can do it already. You don't have to learn how to turn on the computer. Now your smartphones can just, help you do that.
I think though it's just really keeping an open mind. Like our dad, he's 76, but he's such a techie. He plays more Pokemon Go. I've stopped playing Pokemon Go. We were in, where were we? We were in another place, another country, and we were in Dubai. And he was constantly on his phone because the new Pokemons were released and he was trying to get all the new ones. But because for my dad, there was always this eagerness to learn. Like when I lived abroad, I'm like, okay, for us to talk, we have to chat. So I drew him a diagram on how to work around his Yahoo Messenger. And we would chat every day, but I had to tell him, Dad, in chatting, you pop in, you pop out. It's not like the phone. Because sometimes when I don't reply for like 10 minutes, he feels like I put the phone down on him. So it's in and out, in and out. And so, I mean, he's 76. So what's stopping everyone else, right?
Okay, go ahead.
I was just gonna share this really good app that I think is trying to bridge the gap, not only when it comes to age, but the real needs of life. It's called First Five app. It's by Proverbs 31 Ministries, and for at least for evangelicals, it is very important for you to read your Bible, to be inspired first thing in the morning, and if you can, right? But that has been lost because of, yun na nga, first 5 minutes of your day, you're checking your Viber, you're going on Facebook, Googling stuff. So, parang what they did was to address it. They made an app already in your phone and says, first 5 minutes of your day, you open this app for inspiration.
What is it
And
again?
It's First Five.
First
app.
5.
So I think it's the same for every area of life. So whatever is supposed to be first in your day, if software makers can actually do this, like do apps that will give them both quality of life and technology at the same time without taking away from each side, right? It's going to be a great life. It's going to be a great world.
Actually, what I like about what you said, your dad's, how old again? 76. And nothing stopped him, right? Now he's super techie. I, on the other hand, I'm really not techie. I'm not. I really am not. And the only reason why I know how to do things is because I have my husband beside me. So everything, the uploading and doing Dropbox and stuff like that, I don't know how to do it. It's Doug who does it. Because I feel I don't need to because I have my husband beside me.
Can we make a dog app na lang?
I
Ayun
know,
like
we
dog
need a
trainer
dog
app.
In the beginning, I didn't want to have Facebook. I didn't want to have Twitter. I didn't want to have Instagram. I didn't want to have anything. Because I said, why would I do this? Who's going to follow me? And why would they be interested in my life? And my husband's like, just do it. I said, but I don't want anyone to say bad things to me and everything. And he's like, why? You're doing it because you like it, because you want to post pictures. I said, okay, fine. Then I'll make my name different. Because why would you make your name different? Put your name. I said, well, because I don't want anyone to just find me. Then why are you there? Because you're telling me.
And now you're Team Kramer, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So we get the app of dog.
Yeah, we need a dog app. So for those who are watching, please use hashtag Women Will. Of course, we're celebrating women today. It's International Women's Day. And we're talking about womenhood, internet, technology, all together, smashed together. I don't know how we do it, but that's the way it is right now. And we were talking about having a balance, using your critical thinking and all that. Now, one of the things that we also found out was there were women who said that if they learn about the internet or how to use it, they might get addicted. And then the worry is, who will watch over my children? So, and this is real. This came out in the survey that there are those who prevent themselves from actually going into technology or the internet so that their focus will be on children. And I think this is very apt right now to discuss because we're talking about the balance and critical thinking. Like, how does a mom balance her life between technology and her life, kids and family, or how does she use technology such that it's not going to be a hindrance to what she loves to do in terms of like being offline?
Okay, before I let the moms answer, I just want to share a story. So, aside from the cafe, I also do social media management, we have community management. And I realized that I actually work with a lot of women because community management is a lot of communications online. And it's something that comes naturally to women. But aside from that, a lot of them are work-at-home moms. And we do our meetings over Viber. We try to have lunch every other month just to meet up and catch up, but everything is done online. And the beauty of it is that these women have made a conscious decision to really be actively raising their children, and also because of geographic location and all that. So they just needed more time with their children. But that didn't prevent them from pursuing their own careers, from making their own money, and they do it from the comfort of their homes. And it's challenging work they right? They communicate with people who sometimes leave good comments, sometimes they leave bad comments, and a lot of the coordination is really just done online. But it's able to let them focus on things that matter most, while also still, pursuing things that make them feel fulfilled in terms of career and all that. So that's one thing. If for some women maybe it's this, but for some women it's a way for them to actually watch over their children, right? So I think the whole discussion, everything's like there are two ways to look at it, and it's really how you approach things and how you balance.
And the moms, how do you actually make this work for you?
Well, for me at home, we have rules, and when the kids are away, then we can browse through our phones or use our phones and stuff like that. But when the kids are home, because I also have to tutor my kids and attend to their needs, then I put my phone down. Dinner time, no looking at the phone, turn off TV. So we make sure that the times that we need to be with our children, we do not look at our phones. But at the same time, it's very tricky because we post a lot of videos. So we try to capture funny moments, and they're very spontaneous. But then there are also moments that we just decide wherein we do not take videos. So it's really a matter of balancing things and saying, okay, this is our private moment. This one, we're out, we're having fun, we're in the beach, we can video this. And then we tell our kids, okay, we're going out of town, we have to take some videos because it's for our Team Kramer trips, and then they know it. And then there will be times most of the times we're just all together and we're just, are just spending time. But there are times really where the conversation gets really funny. Then I have to get my phone. Like, this is really funny. So I take a video of it, and you know what? My kids love watching those videos. They can't stop laughing. They can't stop talking about that moment. So it's really trying to feel out what's if it's a good time or not. But then I know that I'm a mom first, and I'm a wife and a mom first. So that's my number one priority. And when I feel like when my children are calling my attention, and I have to say, sometimes I'm guilty. Mom, you're on your phone. Stop looking at your phone. You're not spending time with me anymore. And then that's when I say, okay, it's time to put it down. I put it away. Because later on, it's going to be harder also when it's their turn to be holding their own phones. So, there.
I wanted to say that it's a false fear, but it's not, because it's within your hands. I mean, it's so immediate na parang how do you control something that is just right there, right? And I think it's still human beings, accountability. I mean, people around you, like what you said, if your kids are already telling you, you're on your phone again, that should be like an alarm for you na, okay, stop doing that. Me and my husband, that's what we do. Parang, I'll tell him, sobra ka na. You're on your computer the whole time that you're here for the evening. Baka you want to talk to your... And I think that's very important, that we would do that to one another. Friends, family members, husband and wife, that we would remind each other if we're going too much online and not very much offline. So I think human beings at the end of the day will bring the warmth, the life, the blood that virtual reality cannot give us.
I think really education is important. You really have to understand what it can help you with, what it can do. Because if you're the mom, you have to be able to control your children, but you know how. Because in the beginning I was telling them, put that down. We're eating, or after 9, you cannot use your phone or your internet. But homeworks are given now through the internet. Di ba? Parang, ha? So, and then in the beginning, I didn't want to believe. But it's really happening. You see it. The teacher will post something at 12 midnight. Okay, so because of that, and then if you have, and if you have employees who are young, they also use it for good things, no? So it's really understanding what it is, how it can help you, and then you being able to set your priority, knowing how much time can be given, when you can use it. Um, because at the end of the day, yun na nga, two sides. It can be good, it can be bad. It's up to you how to use it. So even for teachers, it's so helpful for children. I mean, if you work with children, put out a computer, you'll be able to teach them anything. If you say no computers because you're young, that's the end of it. So you have to be able to go with the trend. So use it for the good. So for family, children, employees, everything. It's really being able to work. But you have to understand.
Yeah, actually, that's what we're trying to do. That's why we are actually working with Cosmo.ph to put this out there, because we wanted to bring light to the fact that you do need internet and technology and be able to use that to empower yourself. But on the other hand, we also want to put the human component there, that we women are so, we're adapt to that, like putting the woman instinct or the woman touch, or make things more human, to make things worthwhile. Like staying online is worthwhile because there is a connection being made and it does not keep you away from other people. So there really is a good balance that we should see. Like for example, another of the survey results that we got was that when it comes to overseas families, like those who are divided because of overseas Filipino workers, they actually use the internet to get connected. Is there something else that you think the technology has worked for your benefit one way or another, whether at home, whether it is doing your business, being a CEO of a company? Because with families, it's very evident. They put people together when they're far. But in terms of business, how do you use technology to work for your success?
Well, for Doug and I, we have for our team, we have clients from Singapore or like from other parts of the country. It makes it easier. Like when we Skype, when we sit down and we talk through Skype, or we what's that other one, share? It's a Google we do
Hangout.
Yeah, Google Hangout. So that's what we do. So it makes it easier. It's like you do your conference already there, and as what you guys said earlier, it's easier to connect to people.
Yeah.
And especially when Doug's out of town, or when my husband has games abroad, it makes it easier for my children to see my husband. And so the loneliness is not so bad because my kids start crying, and they feel that their papa's not around. So I really also think technology, because it makes it seem that he's just there.
When it comes to business, we really use this technology every day, almost in everything that we do. We collaborate, for example, using Google Docs. When someone's writing a news article, for instance, and everybody needs to see it and weigh in, then we all work on the same document and we don't lose out because the information is all there. Calendars will let you know if that meeting room is available or not. So you don't just go in and barge, and you can really schedule your resources around the company. Waze, for instance, now even tells me, hey, it's time to go to the next meeting. No, and I love that. I love that feature of Waze, because then I look for other routes on how to get to meetings. I hardly am ever late anymore because of that, despite traffic. What else? YouTube. I love YouTube. I love YouTube, well, for learning, no? Especially on 101. Right. And it's aspirational also. During my free time, I look and I say, hey, it's so easy to cook pala. Have you ever seen those tutorials on how to make these fantastic meals? And then I say, ay, kaya niya, kaya ko rin to. So things like this, it opens up a whole new world, no?
Totoo,
I
like,
think, sorry.
this morning, nireview ko yung Pia Wurtzbach pageant makeup bago ako nag-makeup kanina. So, saan nga daw better yung bronzer?
Ako naman, I had to raise funds last Christmas for a non-profit project, and the turnout was like more than 100%, and that was purely done online. Because I don't have the funds to actually put up a store, like a physical store, but online has enabled me to sell these things for a greater cause.
Interestingly, Commune came about because I was meeting so many people online, and we were always looking for a place to meet. We knew schedules now of which coffee shop would close at that time because we wanted to hang out longer. And so it was a joke na parang, what if we had our own headquarters? Like friends of mine who I actually met on Twitter. So that's how Commune came about. It was a place for people who were always talking online to actually meet offline and collaborate in person on certain projects. And then it went back to online because, again, I'm a social media strategist. I wanted to use the cafe as my case study. So to this day, we've only used social media to promote the cafe. Whenever we do come out on print or on television, it's because they heard about us from social media. And we also use social media to listen to the consumers. What I always tell people is that when you do go online, don't be afraid about the negative comments. I get a lot of clients saying, ayoko nga mag-online. People might just keep complaining on our Facebook
That was my
page.
first concern in the beginning,
See.
but now I just
Exactly. And because what I always say is people will talk about you anyway. Lalo na if you're a personality or a brand, right? You might as well be there to hear what they're saying so you can address it yourself. And for businesses, it's been such an amazing tool because of course it's still very important to work with like a market research company to get real hardcore data, diba? But on a day-to-day basis, you can actually get a feel of your market by looking at what they post, if they enjoyed, if they didn't enjoy, people, if they're actually tagging their friends and inviting their friends to go to your place, di wow, ang saya. Or sometimes you get a negative review. And you thank them because you wouldn't have found out that a certain event happened or this thing went wrong if they didn't post it online. So online, offline, it's really just making it all work together.
I'm baffled that today we can actually do stats by ourselves on our own.
Exactly.
Diba that we don't have to
Yeah.
source it out?
Yeah.
Now I can present myself to different clients
Yeah.
saying that
Yeah.
these are my stats. How empowering
Yeah.
naman no, of an individual.
even on Facebook, you can see their the range of age range of people that follow you. If they're more women or more men, so it really you really see the crowd that you more or less cater to. And what I like with online as well is like even with certain brands that message me to collaborate with me, it's like even if I'm not familiar with them, it's like an online bio data, so you see everything there. So you get to assess right there and then if it's something that you feel like, oh, is this gonna be a good collaboration or is this something that I could just pass later on because it doesn't fit what I wanna do at the moment. So it's very helpful and as what you said, earlier, it's impossible that you can't find anything to do at this day and age. There's so many things to do. So much nga, sometimes it's information overload na. That's why also, as what I said earlier, it's nice to also pick what you just wanna read and what you wanna do versus reading everything. Kasi it gets really confusing.
That is so true. Sometimes you say 5 minutes lang, I'll just look at something. And then you end up like 1 hour na, right?
It makes it easier for you to have a business. To put up something because you don't have to pay anymore for space. Diba?
For us in Galileo, we have more than 30 branches. So to be able to monitor them, for them to be able to give the same standard, we really have to visit them. So in the beginning, you would visit them once a month. You have to stay the whole day. So 30 branches. How many people do you need to really monitor them? But now with the internet, it's easier. We do Skype, we do Hangout. We're able to check them. Training, they used to come to the head office once every quarter. Now we can just do it online. So
Starting a business is so much easier, like what you said. Like my daughter, can I just give you this example? My second daughter, Cara, is a chef. Okay, she's a thin chef. But she's like you. 3 years ago, she came to me, Mom, I want to have a business. I said, business and chefing doesn't go together. No, but Mom, I want to make my own swimwear. And so she said, okay. So we were in Rome at the time, and she said, okay, Mom, let's look for cloth. So we went and looked for cloth. I said, it's gonna take a lot of money to launch your line and all of that. What she did all online, she looked for mananahi, then she started designing it, and then little did I know, a few months after, she started her online Diwata swimwear. But she did it very cheaply, you know why? She designs it, she has it made, she's the model, she did the website, she goes around the country promoting it, and then she has a lot of followers. I said, wow, I wish I had known this before. Mas madali, Team Asia wouldn't have taken 25 years to get to where we are. Diba?
And diba, even with collectors, you think, well, because they have the knack for business, so they can create brands and everything. But even as a YouTuber, you can have your passion for toys and just talk about toys and unboxing
That is so
everything.
true.
My goodness,
Yeah.
you all of a sudden have a viewer, and that's why I always say impossible that you can't think of anything now, because now everybody has an interest, even the things that you think it's not interesting. They're interested. Yeah, they
I
like
think
it.
what internet has done is that it has made it a level playing field.
That's
Yung
true.
parang everyone
It's an
is
equalizer.
just on the, it's an equalizer. Everyone can just be a business person. But also, yun na nga, parang everyone now is a photographer. But are they really? So ganun pa rin, may tension pa rin in the middle.
So I think we've already established that the internet is such a good tool to bring out your passion so that you can pursue your dreams. It's very empowering. However, we also know that there are those in the world who are not given access to internet for so many reasons, whether it's because access is just bad or they're not allowed to because of culture maybe or some religious preferences and all that. So we can see that women can be empowered using the internet. At the same time, we do know that there are women who are not empowered because of the lack of access. So we have established that. So now we want to put the human into this whole technology conversation. So we'll go into who you are and who you are right now as successful women. So why don't we first let me ask, is there any question from the audience? Okay, there is one here.
Hi, my question is, so social media and the internet bring people closer, but then I think there's also a risk of people thinking like that they know you based on what you present online. How do you cope with that?
Which I think is pretty much into this human thing that we're gonna start talking about.
For me, a relationship is not a real relationship when there's no offline component. It has to be online and offline. This is why I make it a point that I meet people face to face and I actually share my life with them. I go out with them. I raise my kids with other families. I cannot raise kids with families who are just online, who are just exchanging thoughts and what have yous online. It has to be a face-to-face thing, has to be a side-by-side thing, flesh. Can't be just virtual. I really don't believe in purely online. It helps, but it can't be purely online. As well as, I mean, like, if you're not naman gonna be online, parang, are you not helping yourself naman if you're going to cut out the whole online thing? So it has to be both. The world is now a better place for moms, for people raising families like me, business, every kind of person. Use it both wisely.
I also feel the same way as what Rika said. Of course, like for us, not saying that we're putting a front. Of course, what you see is what you get. But at the same time, it's different. It's different when you meet the person, when you interact. Some people in fact feel that they're really close to us because they see so much of our they see so much of our family and everything. Which I understand that, but then it's also putting boundaries. It's different. But for me, it's really important to interact, to still know the person. Which is, Rika, you're very right with that. As much as you see how the family is, you also have to understand that there are still things also that we keep to ourselves. Kaya I never believe that grabe naman, you let out so much of your family and everything that you guys are doing. That's not everything. We don't have a reality show. These are things that we just pick, diba? These are things that we feel like, okay, we can share. But there are also many things that we keep sacred that it's just ours.
I forgot to say that as personalities, well, my husband and I would always make it a point to say that not everything that you see online is already it. Who publishes the ugly parts of life? Not even the normal person would like to publish my before coffee moments, my before makeup, CC cream moments. Diba? I really don't want to publish those. So that in itself should tell us that this is not face value. When I see a face on my screen, this is not it. There's something
woke up
behind.
like this.
Oo. Hindi, meron naman. Kung nag-makeup siya kagabi. And then she woke up, nandun na yung makeup.
Actually, minsan nga naka-question ko ngayon, hashtag goals. hashtag relationship, hashtag inspo. Isip ko, is this, I mean, you know, thank you that you see it that way, but I also, what about, how deep or how do you see it through that, diba? Parang, that's why, for me, importante pa rin that you see these people eh. Kasi anyone can be goals, anyone can be inspiration, anyone can be ano, but you know, look deeper. Critical thinking is needed.
Okay, sila kasi celeb, no? Ako, coffee shop owner. So, people actually think that I sit around the cafe all day just drinking coffee and parang,
You're cool
living
like
the
that.
life. Oh, so I actually get people asking, are you in commie now all day? I'll drop by, I'll say hi. May schedule din ako. But I mean, see, because that's, I mean, I can't blame them. That's what's on my Instagram, cup after cup of coffee, diba? But do you really know anyone? Well, ganun, pa-mysterious. But that's true. I mean, as they were answering it, so I was super active in Twitter back in 2009. And I would get into full-on conversations with people, feel like we're really close friends, and realize, wait lang, we've never met in person. Diba? And my first Twitter avatar, I had a blue wig on, and for some reason people thought I was a guy, or that I really had blue hair, right? And then we started organizing meetups to eyeballs to meet each other in person. Because at that time in Twitter, the people who were active were people in telecom, in advertising, in tech, so industry people. And parang, oh, magkita naman tayo in person. Because you really do get that false sense of knowing people, lalo na now with Snapchat and stories, where you really see more unguarded moments and parang, and I feel the same when I look at celebrities, ganyan pala itsura ng bahay, diba? Oh, that's what the closet looks like, diba? So you get this false sense of parang BFFs kayo. Then you realize, we never really met. I've had people calling out to me before, like, in the middle of the mall, go, Wanshi! That's my Twitter handle. They don't even know my first name. But that happens. But it's until you meet people in person when credibility is built, when you can finally trust a person. And when you really get to know someone, ganun pala siya magsalita. Yun pala yung boses niya. So it's different.
Wait, Ate. I've kissed so many people saying, hi! Ganyan. Ay, hindi pa pala kita na-meet. Nakikita lang kita online. Oh my gosh, ang embarrassing.
So I think it's a good segue dun sa human factor natin. So I want to and also encourage our online viewers if you have questions to ask. But I wanted to go deeper into you as a woman because we always hear na ang daming challenges. So yes, sure, you know technology, you can use it. You inspire people using that one. Here we are talking about critical thinking, knowing what to give and what not to share. Pero with you as a person, have you ever encountered or experienced that point where you have to prove yourself because you're a woman? It's like, for example,
In this roster pala, wala.
it's so easy to be just like who you are because you're successful. But I mean, like, success doesn't come easy to everyone. In the process of you getting to where you are, and we would consider it success because you are bloggers, authors, CEOs, owners of your own businesses. Have you ever had that experience? You have to prove yourself because you're a woman.
We were actually discussing this the other day. Anong sasagot natin? No, because I always say, I probably am in a privileged position to have come from a family and an environment that doesn't say that I can't do things because I'm a woman. We're surrounded by strong women. We work with a lot of women. And it's not like, oh, hindi mo yan kaya dahil babae ka. The most siguro been told is, mag-ingat ka. Kasi gabi na.
We're sisters. And our mom raised us saying, you can do anything. But of course, you pray, no? But you can do anything. So hindi namin naisip na, di ba, being a woman, there are things that you can do.
But yun na nga, it's something we realize that, you know, is in a sense a bit unique to us as well. So, I suppose that's also part of what we do when we go out and meet people. We actually tell them, kaya mo naman eh. I mean, despite what other people tell you. And in certain industries, I have to admit, I see that it's a bit harder for people. But as I was thinking, I think one experience I had that made me sort of feel the difference between men and women. I've been reading all these things that, you know, women are not as assertive in asking for things that they feel is due them, and it's usually with pay and salary. Of course, in many industries, there's really a disparity between how much a man and a woman would make per hour. But in also asking for your pay. I worked in advertising for a while. I thought I got a pretty good deal on what I was doing. I was happy with it. I was perfectly satisfied until I heard that a guy who was doing pretty much the same as I was doing asked for more and got it. So I was like, oh, I could have asked for more. It's not like I was slighted, but it's also me possibly being influenced by society and parang don't take more than you think you need. Okay na yan. Basta masaya ka na, okay na yan, di ba? When parang, oh, I could have asserted myself a bit more. But it also could be harking back to when I was younger, I would be in the debate team and I would be told I was being too aggressive. Because I was talking like this. When I was just being assertive, I was not being aggressive. My male counterparts were not told they were being aggressive. Little things.
I had that experience at AIM when I went there. Because I came from a purely girls' school, Holy Spirit, from 3 years old to college. So just women. And I grew up in a woman-led family. My dad died when I was 10. So no male figure to guide us. Just my mom, my 2 lolas, my 2 aunties. So purely female mentoring. And they never told us na you can't do anything. You can. But I had brothers that I had to fight with and wrestle with to be able to get something from my mom, no? When I got to AIM, on my first day, I was sort of scared in a sense because there were so many men. There were just 8 of us in our batch who were women. Everyone else was male and from different nationalities. So I sort of forced myself on the first day of class to ask the first question. And that broke the ice, no? And after that, I could, talk to them, talk in class. In fact, I made some classmates cry during discussions. Yes, I told one guy, you evidently don't know what you're saying because you can't be a lawyer. Turns out he is a lawyer. So I think he still harbors that wound until now. But I think he has forgiven me already. But see, the most important thing is what you said, is to speak up. And women, kasi all of us, no, women and men, we have a voice in our mind that's talking to us and telling us, no, you can't say that. Because if you say that, this will happen. Are you sure that what you're saying is the correct thing? They might laugh at you. See, this is conversations that you have with yourself. And we all need to break free of that. We have to tell ourselves that we're all the same here, we all have a mind, and we can all say the same thing. Diba?
I completely agree with that. I speak side by side with my husband to a lot of whatever events, crowds, and sometimes I can see in the faces of the men that they would rather listen to the man than me. But that's when it comes in. I'm just gonna speak up, even if you want to listen more to my husband or to a man. I'm here. I was given this position, and as Sheryl Sandberg would say it, lean in. That's one of my most favorite books about feminism, Feminist Manifesto. To lean in, take your leadership position, sit at the table. If it's being given to you, then that's what you can at least do for other women. Because I don't really experience it much when it comes to pay. Because okay naman yung sweldo ko, hindi naman ako taken like as a woman, so you should be paid lower. But I know a lot of women out there experience that. Na pareho lang naman yung nagagawa nila, pero lower pay scale just because you're a woman. And the least that I can do for them is just be out there. I'm going to lean in. I'm going to take whatever position I can do out there to show them that women are competent in areas that they feel like men are only competent to do that.
For me, on the other hand, I guess it helps that my father appreciates a very strong daughter and a very strong personality. And whenever hindi obvious. So, I have a very strong personality. So, although my parents are separated, but my dad really would show appreciation every time I would make a decision or every time I would do things on my own. He would always say, Francesca, she does things on her own. When she thinks it's right, she does it. And, that gives me encouragement. And I was never put in a position wherein I felt like, oh, I'm a woman, I can't do anything. Or I'm placed in a position wherein it's hard for me to talk to other men because I'm just a woman. Because when I walk in there, I don't think I'm just a woman. I think I'm Francesca. I'm Cheska. I'm walking there with, I'm equipped. I know what I'm going to be doing. I'm prepared. So for me, that's why I go back again to, it's also important to have the father figure, the role also to our daughters, for the fathers to tell the daughters, you can do it. Of course you can do it. You can do anything you want. I'm already telling you, I'm your father. So for me, it's very important. Your father also empowers you as a woman. So you either find your strength in your father or you find your strength without your father. So, but for me, I was able because my father showed that appreciation and appreciates my strong personality. I'm more encouraged. And every time I hear from his friends what he says about me behind my back, and that he's so impressed that I can make decisions on my own, and I never ask for help or whatsoever, it all the more encourages me.
For me, I have a story. Before I started Galileo, I worked with a Japanese company. So when I was applying, I was introduced by a Japanese woman. They were surprised that they wanted to meet me. And normally, it's hard to talk to the boss in Japan if you're a woman. It has to be a man talking to a man. So I got there, and then I was surprised. They entertained me. There was a flag of the Philippines there in Japan. And then they picked me up in the airport. They all looked up to me. Guess what? They saw my name, Ma Rowena Juan. Juan. They thought the Ma is Masters. And I was 22. So everyone looked up to me because of that. Years after, my Japanese friend told me, you know what? I just found out. They thought the Ma is Masters. But if not for that, they will not talk to me. So,
So I guess, well, number one, we're actually a country who recognizes women's rights. So we're very blessed about that. We have the right to education, we have the right to vote, we have the right to be, pursuing careers that we want. But there is some point also that we have to admit that the opportunities given to women are not the same to men. And so I've asked you about whether you felt that you have to prove yourself. But in terms of like what you see around you or what you hear around you, has there been like an evident situation where you've seen women, because Rika, you were mentioning earlier, right? You know of women who are not really getting as much as the counterpart male is getting. But, are there other situations like this, and has there been a chance for you to do anything about that at all? Or maybe not, but has there been a situation where you can really say, this is happening, or is it the reverse? It's no longer happening.
I think it still exists in like some companies, right? Na parang, well, first of all, if you're going to have a family, if you're gonna get pregnant, that immediately, for some companies at least, will affect your standing in the organization. So, and I've heard stories like that. I can't really directly do much about that because I don't work in a company or I'm a solo enterprise. But whenever I can, this is why I really believe like one-on-one mentoring is important. When you can, speak to younger women, teach them about how to sit at the table. Kasi when I read Lean In, one of the problems that they would encounter is that even when a woman is given a position at the table, they would try to go on the side. Because in their consciousness, they're not even conscious about that it's within them, that they would rather men sit there in the middle and they stay on the side. So whenever I can, I try to empower women. Go for that leadership position. Be competent. Show them that you can rise up wherever you are in life. That's the most I can do from where I am. Parang, their personal rally, pep, whatever, cheerleader.
Gail, at Team Asia, we're predominantly female. And the reason for that is that I've found out that when I hire people for project management, women are more detailed. They follow through, they make sure things get done, they're mabusisi, they won't let go until everything is right in place. However, in one of our services, which is digital, and we do websites, we do mobile apps for conferences, for instance, they're predominantly male. So when it comes to MIS and IT, it's a male-led department.
Do you think that's a bias going on in there?
I think so, because in school, for instance, most of the people who go, majority, I'm not saying there are no women, but it's mostly men. And when we put out an ad for this position, the applicants are all men. Right? Whereas in the project management or the experience side, the content, the writing, media relations, it's all women.
Could it be just interest?
Rate your strength.
Interest. That's an interesting perspective.
Common notion already. If I'm a woman, I'll be in this job, and this is what the culture already, and then interest as well because you're so used to, you know.
Sometimes we're propagating kasi the very mindset that we're trying to debunk, right? Na parang, if you're too tech, that should be a man, right? I think we're all part of it and we have to step back and say na, am I being part of pushing that thought even further na only men can do tech and the creative details, putting things together for events is more for women. So I think also all of us are kind of partially guilty about that.
I think the digital marketing field right now, I'm seeing a lot more men come in. So maybe it's also a level
Correct.
playing field na men can also shine.
Alam mo, totoo yan kasi
Diba?
even men who, take an interest on like, let's say, social media, ganyan, parang they're being accused agad of being effeminate.
Yeah.
Diba? Yung
Or
parang
like if they
goes
curate
both
their
ways.
curate their Instagram account.
Diba? Yung
Alam na,
parang
alam na yan.
may judgment talaga yung mga tao kasi masyadong stereotypical and we've lived in a world of false dichotomies for so long. So I think that our part in it is trying to give new mindsets as much as we can.
Actually, that's a very good point before you, Rowie. Rose. Rose. It's true. If a man is a chef, you kind of like, bakit, di ba, bakit lalaki a chef? Or a choreographer maybe. It's like, isipin mo kagad, there must be, like, maybe you're not really completely man because of that. So there really is also a bias, not just for women, but also for men. And we as women should also recognize that and also stand up for them when they feel that they're being put in a box or being told that you're being effeminate as if it's something wrong. Because all of us, I believe, even men, has that female instinct in them that really matters when you are, in a relationship or interacting or being a human person, a human being. So there is a need to have that soft touch that they associate mostly with women. Ross, you were saying something?
Me naman from a different industry. So we deal a lot with coffee farmers. We actually go to coffee farming communities in different parts of the country. And I've been hearing that, there are actually, in reality, there are a lot of women in the coffee farms. And a lot of the work being done by the women is the sorting of the beans. You have to, as with any fruit, you have to pick the ripest ones and, just sorting for quality and all that because of the attention to detail and mabusisi. And I think that's a nice stereotype anyway. But although that is the reality, so what's going on is the women that were the sorters and ganyan, and the men do the heavy lifting and all that. But I realized there are actually some farms when women do everything. Heavy lifting, cleaning the farm, just getting all those weeds out and everything is back-breaking labor. And you know how they say, heavy lifting pang lalaki. Everything else light and pretty is for the girls. But you see in the farms, that sometimes there are farms that only women handle and they do everything. Diba? Or sometimes it's a family business. The men and the women help each other with just every aspect of the business and even the kids help out too. So it's really just a matter of not just debunking myths, but just for every person, man or woman or whatever you identify with, that at the end of the day, it's you. What do you think you're capable of? What is it that you want to do? And no one should be able to tell you that you should fit into this box. You don't look a certain way, you can't be that.
Yeah, I pray that one day people will forget the words men and women or feminism or whatever, and instead look at people as people with their abilities and how they can help to contribute. It for me when I look at people, I don't look at them for, oh, she's this guy, I'll just tell him to do guy stuff because, he's a guy. But when I look at them, I really look at them for their abilities, what they can offer the table. And I pray that one day, people will just see people as people that can help each other and, be able to contribute together for the greater good.
I think online life has helped us in that area very much because it has become interdisciplinary. Diba? Na parang hindi na lang mga babae gumagawa nito, mga lalaki, nagko-crossover na talaga. And I really am very grateful for the emergence of online, of internet, because it has helped us all to be more of who we are supposed to be.
That is so true. We have a question from our online audience. Yes.
This is from Precious, and she said, having heard all of your success stories in your respective fields, how do you deal with the low moments? How do you manage those, especially if you have such a strong online presence and people expect you to always be happy or perky and share your whole lives?
For me, there's no blogging or no expressing what I feel and in social media that can help me more than having the comfort of my husband to be beside me, my children. For me, physical contact is still different than rather than sharing, because in a way you blog, you tell them what you think and everything, but it's different still when you talk to your husband, That's where it's unfiltered. You can just say what you want to say, right?
I think there are stages in women's lives. No, like now you're very happy with your husband. I'm a widow. So I was very super happy. I had a complete family, and because everything was roses, and then suddenly he dies, and then you go into a period where it's just it's a wasteland, and you just wanna die. So how do you cope with that? That's when I started to write for me, and to share it, and it really helps if you have a close relationship with the Lord and you keep praying. That's who you hold on to. My children were wonderful. They never let go. They were there for me and they brought me back to life. No? So there are times when you feel low and prayer helps, coffee helps, wine helps.
No, but it kind of reminded me also because I miscarried in 2016. And it was very hard for me to be present online because I was depressed. I was really sad. But it also helped me to be truthful. Like, just pick your words, be very wise in what you're going to share. But vulnerability is also, I think, something that can speak to other people. If they know that you're not always happy, it actually gives them a better idea of who you are and of how we should all be in life. Na hindi naman talaga laging up eh. There are downs. So I'm also able to use that space to say that, if you're sad, if you miscarried, this is life. I also get sad, but we can be together as much as I can, as much as I can share with you an inspiration or just the comfort that I can give you by saying, I know what you're going through. Then let me use that, right? There's no need to say that I'm always happy or that that nothing bad will happen to me. But, just being vulnerable to them also helps very much.
Can I just say really quick, for all that I post a lot of videos and pictures and share a lot of things on social media, there are many times when I put my thoughts that I keep erasing it, erase. You know why? Kasi parang feeling ko when I share my thoughts, parang it's everything na. It's like, parang I was telling my husband, but it's my thoughts. It's my diary of my thoughts. Am I not sharing too much? So, for somebody that also posts a lot, there are also things that hold me back. That I feel like, parang I don't wanna share it. I don't wanna. And then Doug would say, but if it helps, then why don't you? I said, but it's like I'm letting them in my heart and my thoughts, and I don't know if I'm prepared to share that. So those are the things also that that run through my head sometimes. That's why for me it's for me I find it easier to talk to a person. For me that's I always have to tell somebody what I feel before I bring it out because I can be so candid and sometimes when you oral diarrhea, diba? Parang ganun eh.
I have learned my lesson now,
Yeah,
like
learning so
that.
many things. I think it will help also to have a routine every day. Me, when I wake up, I look back, what happened what happened that was good yesterday. Because there's always something good, even just one thing. Diba? And when you realize that, then you remember, okay, whatever problems I have today, I'm sure I'm gonna solve it. So, being thankful and prayers, I think, in the morning.
I always say what doesn't kill you only makes you stronger. So there will be, I mean, especially when you're running your own business, there are so many things you have to think about. Sometimes you're everything to everyone, aside from everything else that's happening in your personal life. But I think one important thing that I learned is to pause. Because social media, I'm always online, always posting everything, always reading everything. When I'm on Twitter, there's like 10 million links you want to read. I do have like 30 tabs open on my browser. And I mean, that's just the thing that happens. And compared to other people, I can always say, it's my job. Eh. So it's not like I'm drowning in all of these things, but it's my job. But there are days when you really just have to go offline and pause. Take some time. Don't be afraid of alone time. Take some time to be alone and just stare at a wall. Or you know, take some time to pause, go and pray. What is it that will recharge you? And you know, don't be afraid of your thoughts. There are some people who are afraid of silence. It's like, I can't stop the things going on in my head. But when you stop, that's the only time you get to sort it out. And more, it's harder for us to pause at any given time, right? So it's really just consciously taking that, okay, all the other noises on my phone and in the outside world, shush. I'm just gonna sit still for a bit and, you know, recollect myself.
One last. I always say plan, PLAN. Pray, live your dream, achieve your goals, and never give up. So I remember that every day.
Can you repeat that?
Go, teacher.
Once again, P, pray, L, live your dreams, A, achieve your goals, and N, never give up.
Okay, may meeting na tayo mamaya for that. You have another question from online?
This is for where'd the question go? Oh, how do you manage to balance your professional lives and your personal lives when it comes to technology and there's not really an off button sometimes? Like I know some of us have a 9 to 5, but there are pending issues that might come up at say 7 p.m., which is technically family time. So how do you deal with balancing that?
Discipline. And knowing your priority in the morning.
Priorities in place would be very important. And I'm often asked, how do you do everything? And my answer is I don't. A lot of people think now, how can you be online, then you have your kids, ganyan. It's because I can't exercise every day the way you do. I mean, I want to, but if I do that, then there will be less time for my family, less time for me to do my online work. So you just have to choose your top three, and that, for me, that's God, my husband, my child, and then my work. So let's see. What else falls under that? Alam ko na parang, okay, this is something that I can't attend to because the first three, I need to put that first, right? So knowing putting your priorities in place is very important, and admitting as early as now, I can't do everything. What are the costs? What do I let go? So I can give my best to the ones that really need my best.
That's true because for some people they think more is more. Yeah, but actually less is really more because you can give more of yourself when you know your priorities.
I think in line with that, it's such a cliche, but really just knowing when to say no. And that you can say no. Lalo na if you're like feeling achiever, di ba? Parang, yeah, I can do all this! Tapos na-traffic ka sa EDSA. But I mean, there are, just know when to say no. And something I had to learn is to ask for help. And to delegate. I can be so OC and so, parang control freak. But there are just times, let other people fly and come back to me if you have questions. But you just have to, admit you can't do everything.
I read a book and the title is The Best Yes. So parang learn how to say no and learn to give your best yeses.
I'm guilty all the time. Because as an entrepreneur, I'm plugged in. So even at night, if it's business, I respond. So sometimes what my kids do, they send me a message and say, Mom, we need you. So they use technology to get to me.
That's very smart. So this has been a very fruitful hour. We have heard a lot of inspirations and wisdom from those who have already made it. So as a parting shot, what they say in showbiz lingo maybe. What would be your advice to women who are striving? Because you've got it made. You are CEOs, you've got your books, you've got your channels. What do you say to women who are striving and feel like they cannot make it? That will be our last message for today. And you can even use technology in your message if you want.
I'd say find your passion. If you know what you want, what will make you happy, go after it. You can only live your own dream. You can't live other people's dreams. And you're the only one with that capability. So go after it, girl.
I would have to say, find your calling. Don't find a job. Don't find a profession. I mean, like if you want to earn money, that's good. But your calling is the one that's good because it's not going to be an easy life. I think that when we're being challenged, we think that we're in the wrong place. But actually, challenges are very much a part of life. I mean, even if you're called in that, let's say you're called to be a writer, you're called to be a CEO, there are challenges with it. So it's not necessarily wrong that it's challenging, but we have to know where we are called. Because unless we know that, we're not going to hold on to something and stick through it, even to the ups and the downs of whatever we are doing as of the moment. Because we're not sure that we're called to do that.
Correct. Thank you, Rika, for answering. You have said everything. So for me, just like what they both said, know your passion, know your calling, basically know who you are, what you can do, what you're capable of doing. Until when can you push yourself? And again, at this day and age, nothing is hard to do anymore. Everything is possible, just as long as you know as to what direction you're heading to. What is it? What is your game plan? What is it that you want to do? Ask yourself. And what are your intentions behind it? So for me, know what it is that you want to do and your intentions behind it. And is it something that's feasible that you can really be consistent about? Some people, they just want to do things for the now because everybody else is doing it. But is it really something that you want to do, or you just want to do it because everybody else is doing it? So, ask yourself that. Spend time with yourself, ask yourself.
Sorry, let me just add, don't be afraid to fail. I think yun din eh. As a woman, we're afraid of too many things because we're women. Maybe not very much in the Philippines, but all around the globe, we feel that. But don't be afraid to fail. If they actually have a comment or have something negative to say about you, the important thing is that you experimented and you will learn from that experiment and you benefited from that.
Following that, humility is important. Because I talk to a lot of educators, the greatest ones are the ones, when you talk to them, they're still humble. They feel they can learn from you. They're much older than me, but they feel they can learn from you. So humility is important. Ako naman, I believe anything you want to do, you can do. Nothing is impossible. You have to continue to learn, never stop learning. If you stop learning, you might as well just die. And again, in the end, plan. Pray, live your dreams, achieve your goals, and never give up. Very good. Very good students. See? Teacher talaga.
We learned a lot today.
Ako naman, connected to what everyone's saying. I mean, I think it's a journey to know what your passion is, to know what your calling is. It's a whole journey. It doesn't happen na parang, you listen to this, tas bukas pagising nyo, alam ko na. So what I tell people is, you will never know until you try. If you wake up one day and you feel na baka ito na yun, try. If it works out, if it does make you happy, it helps you achieve your goals, then good job. If you fail, try another thing, diba? And in line with International Women's Day, I'm still waiting for the day, and I hope that's what we're probably all trying to get everyone to enjoin everyone. Na parang every single day, it's also another journey to make babae kasi a positive and not a negative, diba? Magaling yan kasi babae kasi, diba?
So,
that has been a very inspiring afternoon. We're celebrating women, and we have celebrated the 5 who are with us today. And it's International Women's Day, so don't forget, there is a value in being a woman. And as what they said, all the things that they said, yun yun. So all the learnings, all the sharings that they have, I hope that you will not just let it go in one ear and then out the other. There's so much to be learned, and you can always use technology. As a matter of fact, those watching online, it is technology that's actually helped you see this and learn from this session. So be able to use it wisely, use your critical thinking, know how to balance things, discipline yourself, pursue your passion, go for it, try, keep on trying, and plan, as Rory would say. So everybody, they deserve a round of applause. Thank you so much for being with us, and good afternoon. Thank you for being with Google and Cosmo.ph. It's been a wonderful afternoon. It's been a wonderful day. Yes, they can see this on Facebook of Cosmo.ph and also YouTube of Google. Thank you, and good afternoon.